Dad was a student in Chapel Hill at UNC. My mother was a student at Meredith. And she had a double major. She majored in piano and voice. And they happened to be on the train going home. I guess my mother lived in Clayton, and you know where Clayton is. So, and Dad lived in Four Oaks. Do you know where that is? It's near Smithville. So they happened to be on the train and got to know each other riding on the train and on their way home from school, I guess. And that's how they got to know each other. And I guess started dating at some point. Mother graduated from Meredith in 13. Dad graduated from UNC in 1912. And he started the first Boy Scout troop in Chapel Hill that North Carolina had. He started scouting in North Carolina. And then he had to go in the war to France in the First World War. And so they apparently saw each other every once in a while before that. But my mother, while he was in France, my mother was teaching music at Anderson College in South Carolina. And she almost died of flu during the big flu epidemic while she was there. But she got well and didn't. And Dad got home in 1918 after the war. And so they continued dating. They got married in 22 and went to Asheville. He was teaching at the high school in Asheville. And then he was also doing Y work at the YMCA, boys work, he called it, at the YMCA. And he was also helping do scout work, Boy Scout work. So he was real busy over there doing all that with boys. And he was in the Rotary Club. And so one day, some businessman in the Rotary Club suggested to him that he build a camp and have a boys' camp because he was so interested in boys' work. And so he liked that idea, so he started searching for a place to have the camp. And somehow or another, he found the place that he finally bought. And so then he started building the camp in 23. And he had to cut down a lot of apple trees, and there were a lot of rocks everywhere, and briars and brambles. And there was a lot of work to do to clean out all that place to build the cabins and everything. And so they moved from Asheville to a little house up Sugar Grove Road, I think it was called, that went right by the schoolhouse and back up in the cove. You know where the little schoolhouse is? And now they call it a community house. But anyway, they lived in a little house back up in that cove until they could fix a place at the camp to live, which was a one-room log cabin, which became part of the house later when it was moved. And that's two houses put together. The living room was the first little log house that Mother and Dad lived in, had 2 bedrooms. And then they bought another log house. Before I was born, they added rooms at the top. And then when I was 14, they added more rooms to the back. It has 8 bedrooms. And then when I was in high school or college, I don't know which, they closed in the basement and made a basement there where we had a washing machine and a big deep sink where I bathed my dog. Well, she was instrumental in the music system there. She and Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike was a music man, and Mother helped with the music too. And then in the early days, she was a dietitian. I think she helped plan the meals back when the camp was real young. and they got a cook from Clayton that cooked. My grandmother and grandfather owned a hotel in Clayton, and the cook from that hotel came to cook at Sequoyah. I loved being there. I had so much fun playing outdoors and being close to nature because I could participate as I got older in the camp activities, and I just pretended like I was one of the campers and I did everything they did. And I can remember having fun playing with them on the ball field, catching fireflies at night, and doing so many other things with them, playing box hockey and tetherball and horseshoes and all those things that they let me join in and do with them. And then we had a ping pong table upstairs in the Hoffman cabin, and I enjoyed going up there playing ping pong with the boys. I just became a camper, and I just loved it, and it was very educational and good socially for me to mingle with all those boys, because otherwise I just had the little mountain people to play with down the road. I started learning how to ride a horse at 7. Corbett Alexander liked taking me on trail rides with him, and so I enjoyed doing that, and then being in horse shows when he was there. And then at one time he had to not be there to teach horseback, so Mrs. Wheeler, who was the wife of the veterinarian for the Biltmore State, came, and she was in charge of horseback, and she taught me how to jump. And that was a big adventure for me when I got to be a teenager. And Joe Getlin, who was a famous Sequoian who brought a big group of boys from St. Louis every summer, and he taught me how to swim. And then after I learned how to swim, a counselor named Fred Decker taught me how to dive off of nothing special on a board, but just how to go head first into the lake.